Discipline is the bridge to everything you want. Listen closely, because the truth I am about to tell you will either ignite your life or haunt you for the rest of your days. Every dream you've ever carried inside, every vision you've dared to imagine, every empire you've whispered into the silence of your own heart, there is only one bridge that can take you there. Not luck. Not chance. Not even talent. It is discipline. Discipline is the thread that ties the impossible to the inevitable. It is the hidden architecture beneath every monument of greatness, the silent force that separates those who wished from those who built, those who dreamed from those who dared. Think about the names etched into history: Edison, who failed 1,000 times before the light bulb illuminated the world. Lincoln, who tasted defeat after defeat before he forged the resolve to lead a divided nation. Carnegie, who rose from poverty and built industries that reshaped a nation. Do you think these giants leaned on luck? Do you believe fortune randomly fell into their hands? No. What carried them forward when others fell was discipline, the unrelenting will to stay the course when every fiber of the body screamed to quit. Discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't shine in the spotlight. It hides in the shadows of early mornings, in the quiet of late nights, in the repetition of the ordinary. It's in the man who studies when no one is watching, the woman who trains while the world sleeps, the dreamer who keeps building when no applause can be heard. Discipline is the bricks and mortar that build the bridge from desire to destiny. And here is the law you cannot escape: without discipline, desire decays. Dreams rot in the mind like fruit left on the vine too long. But with discipline, the impossible bends. The mountain moves. The bridge carries you to the other side. The mind will resist this truth, because discipline demands sacrifice. It demands the death of laziness, the burial of excuses, the silencing of the seductive voice that whispers, "Not today, tomorrow." Tomorrow is the graveyard where dreams are buried. Discipline is the force that drags tomorrow into today, that seizes the moment, that refuses to wait for the perfect conditions because it knows the perfect moment is now. Do you want freedom? Then chain yourself to discipline. It sounds like a paradox, but it is the eternal law of life. The man without discipline is a slave to weakness, to distraction, to mediocrity. The man with discipline owns his soul. He may sacrifice in the short term, but he gains in the long. While others sleep, he builds. While others complain, he acts. While others wish, he works. And the day comes when the bridge he built delivers him to a land others will never see. Think of Henry Ford. Before he revolutionized transportation, he was ridiculed, mocked, dismissed. Yet while others mocked, he worked, hour after relentless hour, fine-tuning an idea no one believed in. His discipline built more than cars, it built a movement, it transformed an industry, it altered the destiny of nations. That same power lives within you. The bridge of discipline is yours to build, brick by brick, choice by choice. Every small action matters. Every decision to rise early instead of sleeping in, every choice to focus instead of distract, every hour spent sharpening your craft instead of numbing your mind, each becomes a stone on that bridge. Alone they may look insignificant, but together they form the only path to everything you want. And hear me, discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. It frees you from the chains of weakness, from the trap of regret, from the prison of what if. Without it, life becomes a cycle of wishing and waiting. With it, life becomes a crescendo, a steady climb toward mastery, toward freedom, toward the fulfillment of your highest vision. So I ask you now, will you live by impulse, tossed by the winds of distraction, or will you build the bridge? Will you drift, or will you design? Will you become another story of wasted potential, or will you stand among the great, remembered not for what you dreamed, but for what you disciplined yourself to create? Because discipline is the bridge to everything you want. And if you dare to walk it, step after step, the other side will reveal itself not as a fantasy, but as your reality. Discipline begins not in the body, but in the mind. The battlefield of greatness is not out there in the world, it is inside your head, in the shadows of your thoughts, in the whispers you allow yourself to believe. Understand this: belief is the engine, but discipline is the steering wheel. One without the other is powerless. Belief alone can inspire you to dream, but without discipline, that dream drifts into fantasy. Discipline alone can push you forward, but without belief, you drive with no destination. It is the marriage of the two that creates transformation. Consider Thomas Edison, working late into the night, surrounded by scraps of failed experiments, mocked by newspapers for chasing an illusion. What gave him the strength to continue when thousands of attempts had failed? Belief that light could be harnessed, and discipline to test one more filament, one more material, one more trial. His mind refused to surrender to the chorus of doubt, and his discipline refused to stop building. Belief lit the spark, discipline carried the torch, and the world was changed. You must see your own vision with that same conviction. The world will question you. Your family may not understand. Your friends may laugh. But if you cannot see your future in the theater of your imagination, discipline will have no anchor. Every morning you must remind yourself, this is who I am becoming. This is the life I am building. This is the destiny I claim. And clarity sharpens that belief. Vague goals create vague results. You cannot be disciplined toward fog. You must define the mountain you intend to climb. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Visualize it until it burns inside you. A man with a clear vision becomes dangerous, because every act of discipline suddenly has meaning. The alarm clock is no longer an enemy, it is an ally. The repetition no longer feels like drudgery, it feels like momentum. Each sacrifice is no longer a loss, it is an investment in a life too vivid to deny. Look at Andrew Carnegie. Born in a one-room house in Scotland, poor and unknown. He did not stumble into greatness. He had clarity, a vision of wealth, of industry, of impact. While others drifted, he defined. While others wandered, he focused. And discipline gave him the courage to start small, to master each step, to expand beyond what anyone thought possible. His clarity gave him direction, and his discipline made that direction unstoppable. So ask yourself now, what is the vision that ignites you? Do not answer with half-truths or safe dreams. Answer with the fire you hide, the dream you bury because it seems too big, too ambitious, too impossible. That is the one worth building. That is the destiny that requires your discipline. Once you see it, guard it. Protect it like a sacred flame. The world is full of distractions, and distractions are thieves of destiny. Every notification, every trivial temptation, every moment of laziness that steals your focus is another stone stolen from your bridge. Discipline is the act of saying no. Not because you lack options, but because you refuse to trade diamonds for dust. Clarity. Belief. Discipline. Together they create a trinity of transformation. When your belief tells you it is possible, when your clarity shows you the path, when your discipline commits to the steps, then the impossible begins to bend. Do not be fooled, this is not easy. Discipline never promised ease. It promised reward. It promised mastery. It promised freedom. And it demands of you a higher standard, a higher identity. You cannot remain the same and expect a different life. You must become the kind of person who deserves the destiny you dream of. And that becoming begins with your mind. When you wake each morning, discipline your thoughts before you discipline your body. Do not feed yourself with doubt, fear, or comparison. Plant seeds of power, gratitude, and determination. Build mental armor, because the day will attack you with excuses. If you do not command your thoughts will command you. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But only if the body obeys the commands of the mind, and the mind obeys the commands of discipline. Otherwise, your belief becomes a wish, your clarity becomes a dream, and your life becomes a shadow of what it could have been. So let the first act of discipline be belief. Let the second be clarity. And let every act that follows build the bridge, step by step, stone by stone, toward the life you were born to claim. Vision is the fire that turns discipline from duty into devotion. Without vision, discipline feels like a prison. With vision, discipline becomes a pathway to freedom. Think of Walt Disney. Long before there was Disneyland, before there was a castle rising in Anaheim, there was only a man who saw what no one else could see. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. He faced bankruptcy. He endured ridicule. Yet his vision was not shaken. He saw families gathered in a place where fantasy met reality, where joy had a home. And that vision gave him the strength to endure the storms, to labor endlessly, to risk again and again. His discipline was not forced, it was fueled. Purpose deepens this fire. Purpose is the why behind the vision, the meaning that gives weight to your discipline. A man who works only for money will quit when the money does not come fast enough. A man who works only for recognition will abandon the road when applause is absent. But a man who works with purpose cannot be stopped, because his reason is greater than the obstacles. Abraham Lincoln did not endure the agony of civil war for fame. He did it for the soul of a nation. His discipline to keep moving forward when the country was tearing itself apart was born from purpose. Purpose transforms sacrifice into service. Purpose transforms pain into perseverance. So what is your purpose? Why does your dream matter? Who benefits when you succeed? Who suffers if you quit? These questions are not small, they are the roots of your discipline. Without them, you will wither. With them, you will rise. But vision and purpose must be translated into practice. Greatness is not built in the extraordinary moments, it is built in the ordinary ones, repeated with relentless consistency. Discipline is not an event, it is a lifestyle. Look at the athlete who trains day after day, not for the crowd, but for the craft. Look at the writer who writes each morning, not for fame, but because the words must live. Look at the entrepreneur who studies late into the night, not for applause, but for mastery. They all understand the same truth: discipline is not what you do once, it is what you do daily. And here lies the secret: small acts of discipline compound. Alone, they seem insignificant. But repeated, they transform. Wake up early once and nothing changes. Wake up early for years and your life is unrecognizable. Save a small amount of money once and it feels like dust. Save it daily and you build an empire. Read one page today and nothing shifts. Read daily and your mind becomes a weapon. Discipline multiplies the ordinary into the extraordinary. Henry Ford once said, "Nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs." This is the essence of discipline. Do not look at the mountain and despair. Look at the step in front of you, and take it. Tomorrow, take the next. And soon, the mountain is behind you. The enemy of discipline is not failure, it is inconsistency. Failure can teach. Failure can strengthen. Failure can redirect. But inconsistency robs you of momentum, it interrupts the compounding power of discipline. Imagine planting seeds one day, then digging them up the next to check if they've grown. You would never harvest. Yet that is how most live: they start, they stop, they restart, and they wonder why nothing grows. You must decide: will I be disciplined for a season, or will I be disciplined for a lifetime? True freedom comes not from bursts of effort, but from steady devotion. Discipline must become who you are, not something you occasionally do. And the beauty of discipline is this: once it becomes identity, it no longer feels like struggle. The man who once fought to wake early becomes the man who cannot imagine sleeping in. The woman who once forced herself to exercise becomes the woman who feels incomplete without it. At first, discipline feels like resistance. Over time, it becomes rhythm. Eventually, it becomes you. Vision lights the path. Purpose fuels the journey. Discipline walks the steps. Together, they forge destiny. And when the days feel heavy, when the vision seems distant, when the purpose feels clouded, remember this truth: your discipline today is building a future you cannot yet see. The bridge may look unfinished, but every stone laid brings you closer. Do not stop. Do not delay. Do not betray your future self by abandoning the work of today. Because discipline is the bridge to everything you want. And only those who continue walking it will discover the world waiting on the other side. The moment you commit to discipline, life will test you. It will not roll out a red carpet to your dreams. It will throw storms, setbacks, betrayals, and failures across your path. Not to destroy you, but to prove you. Understand this: the bridge of discipline is not built in calm weather. It is forged in the fire of resistance. Every obstacle is an invitation to grow stronger, every hardship a test to see if your vision is worth the sacrifice. The world does not hand greatness to the untested. It reveals it only to the resilient. Resilience is the armor of discipline. It is the ability to rise again after being struck down, to stand taller after being broken, to continue walking when your legs are weary and your spirit is bruised. Without resilience, discipline crumbles at the first storm. With resilience, discipline becomes unstoppable. Consider Abraham Lincoln once more. Before he became president, he lost elections repeatedly. He faced business failures, personal tragedies, and political humiliations. By the world's measure, he was a man destined for obscurity. But his resilience, his ability to keep moving forward in the face of relentless defeat, allowed his discipline to carry him all the way to the White House. Without resilience, the discipline of his efforts would have meant nothing. And resilience is born not in grand moments, but in the daily choice to continue. When life whispers, "Quit," discipline answers. No one doubt screams, "You are not enough." Discipline declares, "I will become enough." Adaptability is the twin of resilience. Discipline does not mean stubbornly clinging to a failing plan. It means committing to the goal while adjusting the strategy. Thomas Edison did not repeat the same experiment 10,000 times. He adapted, he shifted, he tried new filaments, new approaches, new designs. His discipline was in the persistence, but his genius was in his adaptability. Look at Henry Ford. His first automobile company failed. He could have walked away. Instead, he adapted his vision, refined his methods, and disciplined himself to keep innovating until the assembly line revolutionized manufacturing forever. Too often, people confuse discipline with rigidity. They think it means doing the same thing, the same way, without change. But true discipline is flexible. It bends without breaking, it adapts without losing focus. Like a tree in the storm, it does not resist every gust, it sways, it bends, and because it bends, it does not snap. So when you face obstacles, and you will ask not, "Why me?" Ask instead, "How can I adapt? What can I learn? How can I grow stronger because of this?" Every challenge contains a seed of wisdom, and discipline is the act of planting that seed instead of discarding it. The disciplined do not see obstacles as walls, they see them as stepping stones. They do not see failure as final, they see it as feedback. They do not fear storms, they harness them. Walt Disney faced bankruptcy multiple times. Banks rejected him over and over. Imagine if he had surrendered. Imagine if he had believed the critics who told him his ideas were foolish. There would be no Disney World, no legacy of imagination. What saved him? Discipline to keep creating, resilience to keep believing, adaptability to keep trying new ways until the doors finally opened. And the same will be required of you. Life will demand your resilience. It will require your adaptability. It will test the strength of your discipline not when it is easy, but when it is hardest. When the audience is gone. When the results are slow. When the bridge seems endless, and the destination feels invisible. That is when the majority quit. That is when the weak walk away. That is when the undisciplined drift back into mediocrity. But not you. You will be the one who continues. You will be the one who adapts. You will be the one who stands when others fall. And because of that, you will be the one who crosses the bridge. Remember, every setback carries within it a gift. Failure sharpens your wisdom. Rejection strengthens your resolve. Delay deepens your patience. Discipline takes these blows, absorbs them, and transforms them into fuel. The undisciplined see obstacles as the end. The disciplined see them as the beginning of greatness. So when the storms come, and they will, stand firm. Bend, but do not break. Adapt, but do not abandon. Rise, again and again, until the world itself bows to the power of your persistence. Because the bridge to everything you want is not built on perfect days, it is built on tested days. And the one who disciplines himself to endure those tests is the one who will stand victorious. Gratitude is the final ingredient that transforms discipline from struggle into strength. Without gratitude, discipline feels like a burden, a never-ending grind. With gratitude, every act of discipline becomes a gift, a reminder that you are alive, that you are capable, that you are building something worthy of your breath and your time. The great achievers of history, for all their ambition, never forgot gratitude. Edison expressed thanks for every failed experiment, because it revealed another way not to go. Lincoln gave thanks even in the darkest hours of war, believing that Providence still guided him. Carnegie gave thanks for the poverty of his youth, because it gave him the fire to rise. Gratitude reframes the struggle. It turns sacrifice into privilege. It whispers, I get to do this, instead of I have to do this. And when gratitude fuses with discipline, mastery is born. Mastery is not the result of one great act, it is the accumulation of 1,000 disciplined choices, compounded over time, fueled by purpose, strengthened by resilience, sharpened by adaptability, and softened by gratitude. Look at the violinist who practices scales until her fingers bleed, yet smiles because she knows she is shaping sound into beauty. Look at the craftsman who chisels stone day after day, not frustrated by the dust, but thankful for the chance to reveal the statue within. Look at the athlete who runs until his body aches, yet smiles because he is chasing the edge of his own limits. Mastery is the summit of discipline. It is the reward of those who refuse to stop. And mastery does more than transform you, it transforms the world around you. Every great invention, every work of art, every movement of progress we celebrate today exists because someone, somewhere, chose discipline over distraction. Because someone stayed at the workbench when others left. Because someone believed long enough, worked hard enough, and endured strong enough to build a bridge the world could cross. Now the question is no longer about them. The question is about you. Will you take up the mantle of discipline? Will you commit not for a week, not for a season, but for a lifetime? Will you build the bridge that leads to the life you've dreamed of, the life you've whispered about when no one was listening? Because the truth is this, no one is coming to save you. No one will hand you the life you want. The world does not reward wishes. It rewards discipline. It rewards those who refuse to quit, those who dare to rise again, those who will not be moved no matter how long it takes. You will be tempted to settle. You will be tempted to believe that good enough is enough. But you were not born for mediocrity. You were not designed to live half asleep, chained by laziness and regret. You were born to create, to build, to rise, to impact, to live fully alive. And discipline is the only bridge that can carry you there. Imagine standing at the end of your life, looking back. Will you see a trail of excuses, of abandoned dreams, of what could have been? Or will you see a bridge you built, stone by stone, choice by choice, leading to a destiny fully lived? That choice is yours, and it is made not someday, but today. Not later, but now. So rise. Take hold of the vision. Anchor yourself in purpose. Discipline your thoughts, your body, your habits, your days. Bend when the storms come, adapt when the plan fails, rise when you fall, and never forget gratitude for the privilege of the journey. Because discipline is not chains. Discipline is wings. It does not trap you, it frees you. It frees you from regret, from weakness, from mediocrity. It frees you to become all that you were meant to be. And when the world looks at you, years from now, they will not see someone who wished, or someone who wandered. They will see someone who built. Someone who endured. Someone who walked the bridge. And on the other side of that bridge lies everything you have ever wanted. So walk it. Walk it with courage. Walk it with faith. Walk it with fire in your soul. Because discipline is the bridge to everything you want. And today, right now, is the day you begin crossing.